So, today we're going to go through Slay the Spire, and I'm going to tell you the 10 biggest differences between Slay the Spire 1 and Slay the Spire 2. Now, just starting out, as you can see, we have 5 characters. An upgrade from the original roster of 3, and then 4 later on in Slay the Spire 1. Not as much as Downfall, but that's just a mod. It's not technically an official part of the game. But, yeah, let's go for the Necrobinder. Show you some of the gameplay. Now, the advantage of having a bigger roster is that you can really add some variety. I mean, 3 was a good size for the initial game, but I think 5's a good round 1. And we might get more in the future, so who knows. Now, one of the things you'll notice is that the starting relics are balanced differently. And not as powerful as some of the other ones were in the previous game. We're starting off at the bottom. And the next thing I wanted to show you is the map itself. Now, in the previous game you could highlight the different types of things you can visit, but now you can draw. If you want to follow a specific path or open up some ideas, then you can choose to do that. And one of the best things about the map is that if you have, for example, a point here, you can kind of choose some options. You don't have to take that elite path. You can go get the fire, and then if you want to avoid the elite, if you're not really powerful, then you can just skip up this way. So the options are there. Now, of course, the third thing you'll notice is the upgrade in visuals and graphics. Now, I'm not going to explain the new character, I'll let you find it out yourself, but I think the Necrobinder is pretty fun. Bit of a misplay there, should have played Bodyguard first, but nothing to worry about. I'm sure we'll still win this fight. And this little guy, Shrink-a-Beetle, he's one of my favourite new characters. The first few floors are always going to be easier fights. And I think this guy's got a lot of character. They're the most common fights you'll see in every run, so I think if the design team are as good as they're showing, then they'll definitely be able to take that into consideration when designing the characters. Now, with the characters from the previous game, there are new cards, rebalanced cards, and cards that have been removed. One of the cool things about it is there's a bigger pool of cards. We'll put that down as number 3. So, because there's more cards to choose from, it kind of rebalances the whole game. In the previous game, just like this one, sometimes a smaller deck is better than just putting as many great cards as you can in the deck. So having that bigger variety really, it opens up the possibilities, but it also dilutes some of the synergies. If you've got 2 cards that work really well with each other, the chances of drawing them both get slimmer and slimmer. And along with the new cards, there's a new selection of potions and relics, and it's quite a refreshing difference. Now, speaking of relics, there is something I'm going to show you at the end of this. It's not relevant now, but when you get to the end, normally in Slay the Spire 1, when you get to the end of the act and beat the boss, you get a lot of relics that give energy, and there are not so many relics this time around that give energy, so it really forces the players that were used to the previous iteration to play more strategically with their choices. Yeah, I think I'm just going to play it safe and remove a defend. Or if we remove a strike, we can kind of focus on playing the reap, which is a bit more expensive, but maybe pull aggro? I'm not sure. We could just go for a potion for now. That's a safer option there. Now we've covered the card pool, we've covered the relics and the character roster. And there are new encounters as well, which kind of really change the balance of the game. And in some of these encounters, you can upgrade your cards, not like the standard upgrade you get at the fire campsites, but you can kind of modify them. So some cards can be changed to cost less or replay themselves when mana is spent on them. There's all sorts of variety there. Let's make that reap really worth it. I'm gonna avoid. You know what? We'll take the campfire and then go for the elite fight there. I didn't mention it when we looked at the roster, but there is a random button there, which is quite helpful, especially if you've got some of that analysis paralysis and you can't decide which character to pick. They can do it for you, which is nice. Not quite there yet, but we're close to playing that reap. Thankfully it's got retain, so as soon as this guy hits 33, should be raring to go. And a handy little feature, which is more of an improvement, like a life improvement more than anything else, is it tells you which turn you're on the end turn button. Which, the more you play it, the more useful you'll find it, especially when you're trying to sync up specific relics that only work on certain turns. Back. Now, I believe the next thing I was going to mention is the drawing of the map, which I'm going to show you after I smith up one of these. I think we've covered the map drawn, and the next thing I wanted to cover was there is multiplayer, which I'm not going to be able to show you today because this is just a single player video. But as far as I'm aware, the way the multiplayer works is that you get up to 4 players and you can choose different characters. You can make decisions on which relics or decks you want. But you're all fighting the same enemy, so the enemy health pool is massive in comparison to the single player. Also, on top of the enemy health pool being bigger, you have to all agree on which route to take on the map, and everyone can draw on the map at the same time, which is a nice idea. Adds a little bit of chaos to the proceedings. I think that Time's Up was a bit of a bad choice. Not getting as much Doom as I would have liked, but we are building up Otzi, so that's nice. Now, hopefully I'm going to get a chance to show you the card mod at some point. We're going to try and get some more question marks to show off some of them like that. Now there are some of the relics like Pen Nib coming back from previous games, so it's something to play with. Ah, one should we go for? I think with Necrobinder the hit points are a rare currency, so we're going to go for a clumsy and just try and remove that from the deck at the shop. And I think it's worth it for an anchor. Except we don't have enough money. I guess clumsy's staying in. Let's get a wisp and move on. I was tempting to get a potion instead, but I think wisp is good just because we've got a couple of expensive cards here. Now, the pool of new enemies and new bosses, I'm not sure if I've fought them all yet, because I'm still at the stage where we've got, well, we've unlocked all the characters and we've made Ascension 1 on most of them. But the previous game had Ascension 20. It also had the keys where it would force you to... That was a bit of a misplay. Anyway, with the keys, it would force you to sacrifice one of your rests. It would force you to go a certain path for the elite enemy, and you would have to sacrifice one of your treasure boxes just to get the 3 keys to open up the secret boss. So there might be a secret boss in this. We just haven't got far enough yet to find it. It's rather exciting. It's a novel... It's a novel feeling. Like, going into a game for the first time, learning the mechanics, learning the enemies. Well, if you take the first Slay the Spire, there was an elite enemy in the first act called the Gremlin Knob, and he was pretty defining on your tactics and going through the first act, because he punished you playing skills, so naturally you would aim to go towards more attacks, more attack heavy on the first act. But in this game, I feel like there's more flexibility. So don't feel forced into going for a certain type of deck. Well, not until you get to the later ascensions. By that time, you'll be more attuned to how the game flows. You'll be able to make more informed decisions. I liked him, eh? A good card. So, I think we can use a block potion here. But yeah, that should cover 10 things. So let's just go through my notes here. So the character roster, the new relics, not having the power relics, the bigger card size pool, variety in Act 2 and 3, so you don't always have the same act. Sometimes there's like different acts and different routes you can go. So that's an interesting twist. The random button for the choosing the character at the start. Now, there is a fuller story, which I don't know if I've mentioned earlier in the video, but this story, it's kind of like you open up segments every time you beat a high score or get to the third act with a character. There's another one of these, they're called epochs. And every time you unlock a new epoch, it adds a little something to the story. And it's non-linear as well. And the incentive for unlocking the story is that every time you unlock the story, you also unlock a new batch of items or relics or cards. Some are character specific and some are general. And you also unlock different game modes as well. The daily modes are back, and the custom modes as well. Oh, that's a brutal one. Let's go for it. Now, last but not least, let's showcase one of these new bosses we've got here. And the start of Act 2, which has got a nice surprise which I want to show you. Now this ceremonial beast character, essentially it's a DPS race. You have to get it down to 150 to stun it. It has a moveset before, and when you get to 150, that's kind of like the second, like in a boss fight in Dark Souls, second wave. Huh. Just need to do a little bit of thinking for this guy. A little less talking. Now, getting that card with the extra mana and getting Reap is really good. So we've got him down to 149. A little bit of Doom on him. And boost that up as much as we can. I don't know if we're going to beat this guy. It's quite a skill being able to talk and play the game at the same time. Underappreciated. I think we'll use bone shards yet. I like having them at a higher number there. Now, this howl, like ringing, can only play one card. Might as well be Reap. And Artsy will survive with a couple of HP and we'll get a big chunk of life off him. That's what, 59, 40, 33 we need to deal to win this. Let's see if we can get up there. 34, that should be enough to get it into Doom territory. And we have enough life to survive this 19. Perfect. Well, there you go. Well, let's have a look at these beautiful cards. Don't have much ethereal in the deck. I do like summon. Kind of going with a summon theme here, so let's stick with that. Now, this is the last part I wanted to show you, which is quite interesting. Act 2, we're up against Knowledge Demon, and it's one of the paths you can go down. You don't get to choose which Act 2, but you do get to choose which relic. Instead of the standard boss relic, you've got this array of characters here. For example, Orobas, the living rainbow. A little bit of text there. Too much, but enough to make it interesting. Add a bit of character. Now, as you can see, some of the options give you borderless cards, which are really powerful. I love that idea. It's kind of borrowing from Magic the Gathering a little bit. Now, Radiant Pearl is kind of like an energy relic. But, so you've seen that with a borderless card. You transform one of the cards you already have into something more powerful. Now, what I'm going to do, just for the sake of this video, is go for the Electric Shrimp, just so we can show you the enchant card feature. I think Reanimate is a good option for this. Actually, let me just double check. That's 25. For a second there, I thought we might have been able to get away with removing the exhaust from it. But yeah, as you can see, the card is now modified. I think that'll be enough for today. But if you have any more ideas, and let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you next time. Have a nice day. Bye.